conference will now be recorded.
Good evening, everybody. We are going to begin this evening with a public hearing regarding our application for the Community Development Block Grant. Great West Engineering is submitting the grant for us, and Colette will present for our project. Thank you. Is it on?
There we go. Okay. I think everybody in the room should be able to hear me pretty good, but my name's Colette Anderson. I am the project manager, your city engineer with Great West Engineering. And I'm here tonight to present on the water system improvements project that you guys have been working on for a few years now. It's actually underway. But this public hearing, we tried once before. We submitted a grant application to the Community Development Block Grant Program to try to get additional funding for the water project, and that first attempt was unsuccessful. And so it's a very competitive program, and so we have debriefed with the program, learned some things from them, and are revamping the application on your behalf and going to try again. You can get up to $750,000 grant. So the city has elected to go ahead and give it another shot. So as part of that, we're required to hold a public hearing to go through the project. We've held many public hearings about this project. So, but I don't know if you've all, been here. So I'll kind of go through this. I did have some some handouts that are going around the room if you guys want to follow along. Please feel free to interrupt me, stop me if you have questions along the way. Happy to discuss any aspects in more detail. So first off, I've kind of already explained it, but why are we here? So that the town of Ennis can apply to Montana's Community Development Block Grant Program, CDBG. That program requires that the applicant gives the public the opportunity to consider any potential impacts and benefits of the proposed project. And so this will be an opportunity for all of you to hear about the project, to ask questions, comment on the project, express support if there's support for the project, and we'll keep, the minutes of the hearing will be included in the application itself. So CDBG can provide up to $750,000 in grant funding, and it does require a 25% match. The town already has been successful in securing a MSEP, Montana Community or Montana Coal Enhancement Program, and an RRGL, Renewable Resource Grant Program. They've already been awarded the funds from those programs, so the match funding is already in place. The project to be eligible for CDBG must benefit at least 51% low and moderate income, and Ennis currently has a 51.5% low and moderate income population. And then, of course, the project has to address a documented community need, and in this case, it's water, which has been, I know, a hot topic in the community for quite some time now. There was a needs assessment held previously in August of 2024. We also held another, technical public hearing last year too, and then we held multiple public hearings before that when we were going through the completion of the preliminary engineering report and applying for those other grants that I mentioned. So it has been well discussed many times in the community. At the needs assessment also was discussed economic development, housing, infrastructure, types of potential projects funded by CDBG, as well as the needs of low and moderate income persons. So a little bit of background, the preliminary engineering report was completed in 2024 and it was used to support funding applications at that time. A preliminary engineering report is a technical document. It evaluates the condition of your existing system. In this instance, we evaluated the existing condition of the water system, identifies any deficiencies that might exist. And then it evaluates alternatives to address those deficiencies, and then puts together cost estimates, estimates how much any improvements might cost, and then evaluates different funding sources that might help the town pay for any necessary improvements and make it as affordable as possible. It also encourages and facilitates public comment, and it is a required document by the funding agencies for compliance issues for funding agencies to be eligible for all the grants and loans. So through completion of your guys' preliminary engineering report and our evaluation of the water system, the primary deficiencies that were identified were related to the water supply and the water storage facilities. So you guys have a couple of wells, groundwater wells, that serve the community. One of them produces approximately 350 gallons per minute, while the other has a capacity of approximately 250 gallons per minute. So the Department of Environmental Quality has a regulation that says the water system has to be able to provide the maximum day demand with the largest of your sources out of service. So if one of your larger well goes out of service, they want you to be able to meet those maximum day demands with your remaining sources that are in service. So currently, your projected maximum day demand, so with projected population during the 20-year design period, we estimate based on water usage, historical water usage in the community, that the maximum day demand is about 522 gallons per minute. And so with your larger well out of service, you're only producing about 250 gallons per minute. So you don't meet that requirement. So you're short by about 272 gallons per minute. The water storage tank, the existing tank is roughly 30 years old. It's leaking, and it requires, quite a bit of maintenance if it were to remain in service. And so, in addition to that, when we evaluate the capacity, which considers the demands on the system from water users as well as fire protection, we estimate that an additional 130,000 gallons of storage is needed to meet those future demands that we're projecting. So understanding the primary deficiencies in the system, we then move on to evaluate the potential solutions. And so with the supply, we did some test well, or some test wells on the rodeo grounds out here to determine if we could develop another water supply source. And so the preferred alternative includes construction of 2 additional wells and a pump house, and then the piping to connect those wells to the system. So that project is actually designed and going to start going out to bid next week. And so we're hoping that construction on that is going to start this fall. And so that will include, there's already 1 well that's been drilled out there that was part of our testing program. And so this project will complete that well, do all the aquifer testing, and then we're also going to incorporate some additional testing in the shallower aquifer to see if there's a more efficient approach to developing additional water supply out there, and then also look at a second deeper well and kind of evaluate and then make a decision during construction on, what that second well is going to look like exactly. So that project is underway. Total capital costs, that includes like the engineering, the design, the construction, all of the above, is around $925,000. The other component to the project is the water storage tank, and that project design has not begun, but it is slated to start yet this year, and it includes basically just replacing your existing tank with a little bit larger tank and then a new pre-stressed concrete tank. So it'll address the leaking and the structural integrity, and also provide the additional capacity. The estimated cost of that project is around $3.1 million. So in order to help pay for this project, we did apply to the Department of Commerce. Well, let me back up here. First, I'll talk about target rates. One of the eligibility criteria with many of the funding agencies and how they evaluate your eligibility and your competitiveness in some of the funding programs is they look at your target rate. And what target rate is how they calculate or demonstrate that a community and the users in the system are paying their fair share of the cost to operate and maintain the system. And so Department of Commerce establishes a target rate based on a percentage of the community's median household income. And so based on the 2023 American Community Survey, the median household income in Ennis is just under $61,000 $100,000. And because you are served by public water and wastewater, they calculate your target rate based on 2.3% of that median household income, which comes out to a combined rate of $116.69 per user per month. So between water and sewer, they want to see the community paying that amount on average in order to be eligible for their funds. So you'll see down below that I show the existing average rates are actually well below that $116 per month, and the combined rate currently is closer to $85 per month. The target rate has changed since we applied for that funding with the Montana Coal Endowment Program. So at the time of the applications last year, the median household income was lower, and your target rate was lower, so you were eligible for those funds. Since that application has been made, there's been new data that's come out that the CDBG program will look at, and like other state revolving fund and rural development are looking at. And so it does not change your eligibility. You have been awarded that MSEP grant, so that's not at risk or anything. But going forward, as we're looking at future grant applications, we have to look at it a little bit differently.
So what does that mean in layman's terms? So we were at $85.
That's what you're. So your combined rate is at $85. If we were applying for a grant application to the Montana Coal Endowment Program today, you would not be eligible unless and the way they look at it is what your rate is going to be at the end of the project. And so if the project required a large rate increase and all of a sudden you know as a result of that project you were meeting your water rate went up and then you were meeting your target rate, then you would be eligible. So
are we still going to have to meet the 117?
That is for future, like down the road, when we're applying for grant application, that will determine your eligibility. Yes, that is you're going to apply for a CDBG grant.
That means we're going to have to get the 117.
They don't have the same eligibility criteria related to target rate. So that is CDBG is more focused on the low and moderate income households, and so that is the 51% LMI. So that makes you eligible for the CDBG application. That makes sense? Any other questions on that? Okay, so the state grant programs, I've talked about this a little bit. So Montana Coal Endowment Program, this is where that target rate comes into play. So you have to be at 100% of your target rate in order to be eligible for up to $500,000. And so this grant, you've already been awarded $500,000. We have the award letter. We're working through startup conditions and contracting that funding right now. It was awarded based on a previous target rate and the previous financial information that we had that was in effect when we submitted the application back in 2024, and which that target rate was just derived from the previous data, the 2015 to 2019 data, where the income, the MHI, the median household income at that time, was only $46,000. So now they're saying the MHI is $66,000. So with the new data, it's come up quite a bit. The DNOC Renewable Resource Grant and Loan Program, $125,000, no match requirement. You were also awarded this grant this past year with the legislature when the governor issued those awards. And so the grant we're talking about tonight is the Community Development Block Grant. You can get up to $750,000. And again, you have to have an LMI, a low moderate income percentage greater than 51%. And so based on the current data, you're at 51.5%. The applications, we don't know exactly when they're going to be due yet, but we're told in late October or early November. So that's what we're planning for. And then, of course, there's a loan component. There's very rarely, if ever, a 100% grant funded project. And so there's typically a loan component either through the state revolving fund or rural development. In this case, we're looking at state revolving fund. That is administered through the DEQ and DNRC. It's a 2.5% interest rate over a 20-year term. Typically, you can go up to a 30-year term. Sometimes that's not as appealing to communities because you end up paying that much more in interest. There is a possibility of getting 50% loan forgiveness or up to $3 million. You do have to be at the target rate to qualify for those forgiveness dollars for that at the end of the project. So that application, we actually have the application prepared. I'll touch on the budget a little bit here this evening, and we're ready to actually submit that application anytime. And then this project also involves ARPA money, and that's a part of the reason we kind of prioritize the well piece of the project, because that ARPA money needs to be spent by the end of this year in 2025. We do intend to ask for an extension. We will be in construction, but just, I don't know if anybody's dealt with construction projects, you probably know that sometimes there's delays or, schedules, contractor schedules. So we'll get things contracted and construction going, and then we'll also request an extension to next spring, just in case there's any delays on the construction side of things. In ARPA, American Rescue Plan Act, so they had the minimum allocation grant. The Madison County allocated $225,000 of their ARPA funds to the project, and then the town committed $214,000 of its ARPA funds to this project. So then at the bottom of that page 4, I have the proposed funding scenario for the total project. And so that lists out all of the different funding that I have already discussed. You'll see there the loan forgiveness. We don't know that loan forgiveness amount just yet. So we have estimated the higher, we're assuming a higher amount of SRF loan dollars and hoping to also get some of those forgiveness funds. So I'm kind of trying to present a worst case scenario. And that number, that grant number could go up a little bit if we're awarded some of those forgiveness funds, but we won't know that for a little while yet. So based on that funding package, I give a range here, estimated monthly rate increase on the water system of $23 to $28 a month. And the reason I give a range is it's kind of dependent on if you're successful with the CDBG application. It could be impacted if you are, successful in securing some of those loan forgiveness dollars. And so it's tough to, and then also it depends on how the bids come in for the construction projects. When the contractors, turn in their bids, it'll be dependent on what the actual prices are. Everything to date is just based on estimates. The only other thing, that's all I had in my handout. Does anybody have questions on that so far? Yes, Corey.
So this is the loan that we have a 30% chance of receiving, is that?
You have, I think 100% chance of receiving the loan.
The loan portion, you're talking about the grant?
The grant.
This one.
The grant forgiveness, I guess I don't know where the 30% chance came from. I'm not sure what the probability is. We've been successful on most water projects securing loan forgiveness. I think where it gets tricky for the town of Ennis is that median household, they look at it with, they look at the financial component of it, and with the higher MHI, they'll look at that target rate analysis and determine if you're eligible and if they're going to give you loan forgiveness. So I'm not sure how to define the probability of getting that.
I don't know where that number. Where am I getting that number
Yeah.
Yeah, this is an exceptionally competitive grant.
It is. Yes. There's not as much money in the program, and they put emphasis on different things. So, but it's, as we've discussed, I think you guys have all decided it's worth it to give it a shot to try to get $750,000.
So some of your other clients, you guys are representing other clients with this
for the
application as well?
We do. I think we are submitting 2, maybe 3. I don't know if Craig is on the line in there, but he would probably be able to tell me for sure. I think Craig is raising his hand, but I think we have 2 or 3 clients planning to submit CDBG applications.
And I'm just wondering what their household income.
So none of the clients, my projects that I'm working on directly. So I don't know off the top of my head what those numbers are. I could look it up when I get back to the office, but yeah.
Colette?
Yes, Craig. Craig Erickson is our grant administrator at Great West.
Yeah, Colette, and good question. We're not clear how they're going to determine the principal forgiveness. I don't know where the 30% chance came from, but I like that number, but we honestly don't know where that's coming from. The one thing that I want to stress to the council and the audience is, and one of the key arguments we're going to try to make in this application, not only for the CDBG, but SRF, is one of the flaws in the determining of financial need for this grant funding is they do not consider the cost of housing, which for those of you who, obviously all of you who live in Ennis, know that is a pretty significant issue in your community. So we're going to make the best case we can on financial need based on a number of factors, but including the cost of housing. So um, we've already had those discussions with SRF staff. We've had those discussions with the Department of Commerce staff. Hopefully we'll win the day on that argument, but right now the range that's presented by Colette is the worst case scenario, and hopefully we can do better than that, but we really can't promise you. So but I will say I would love to see more letters of support for the project, the financial need, and specifically talking about the cost of housing and the cost of living in the town of Ennis. And I think that would be very helpful if we can hear from the folks in the audience and anybody who's listening online. So that's all I've got. Thank you, Colette.
Yep, thanks, Greg.
This is just a question with drilling the new wells. All right, so I'm the HOA president for Madison Valley, basically HOA that's running. We have wells that are in that supply our own individual water system. Do I need to hit a button or anything? No. Is there any kind of assessment on how that will affect the water table and how that affects, for example, the pumps that we have that already supply the water system that we have?
Yeah, there will be. So we've already done some testing and monitoring, but part of the project will be we'll drill the well. We're going to drill the observation well, and then we're going to do the aquifer testing and monitor that. And maybe as part of that, I mean, we could even look at monitoring what you guys have over there at the same time.
Well, I'm not worried about. I mean, a lot of your testing is on, I assume, is on water quality, and what I'm really talking about is have we gauged what the aquifer is and how much.
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
I'm just kind of wondering how much additional pressure that puts on the system.
Yeah, so we will test the water quality. That will be required also. We got to make sure it's safe to drink, obviously. But we're by aquifer testing, I actually mean pump testing.
Okay.
So we'll actually be pumping it, stressing the aquifer, and measuring drawdown and impact on any surrounding wells.
Okay.
So and we'll be able to see with an observation well right there, you know, how it's impacting that close to it also.
All right. It would be good to just have some communication or collaboration on that, because we want to just, you know, I'm all for supporting water system for the city, but I just want to understand what the impact is going to be on the existing water system we have for the HOA.
Absolutely. And if you want, I mean, I don't know if Nikki, the mayor, or Ginger has your contact information, they can certainly provide that, or I can provide you my contact information. As we move into construction, we can be in touch and come up with a plan for that. Not a problem. Yes, sir.
Yeah, looking at the American Rescue Plan Act, I'm concerned about what's going on in the country as far as you got 10 million illegals, and how many of them got undermined of shutting down the power. With no power, we have no water, and I'm wondering if the town of Ennis is interested in putting a hand pump in this area here, or maybe one in the park, so when the power goes out, we have water.
Well,
instead of going down to the river and getting a bucket of water and come back and boiling it.
Sure. So I don't know that we've discussed a hand pump, but we have discussed emergency backup generator.
Generator, no. You got to go pre-1840. You got to do a hand pump.
Well, I guess I'll leave that to the council if that's something they want to explore. Yes, sir.
So I'm going to go back to my original question. So 5.6 says monthly rate increase, $23 to $28 a month. Is that water rate increase?
Yes.
Okay, so does that require a vote by the council and or the citizens of Ennis?
So there is it'll be the council. There is a whole process that they will have to go through to implement a rate increase. So they will have to hold rate hearings, they will have to have resolutions, and there will be public comment periods. And there will be a process. They can't just implement it overnight.
So if they want to go forward with all of this, they're basically saying, we need to increase water rates.
Yes, and I
Correct.
believe through previous public hearings and by, getting to as far as we are in the project, the council has already made, those, not a final decision. They have implemented a rate increase, but they've, voted to move forward with the project.
Thank you.
And say, we recognize that the need was there, but we wanted to have a true end goal number, not is it going to be $16? Is it at 18? Or where does it truly need to be? And I think now that we're in this final stage, we can set that and start that process. But it is it's more than our regular public hearings. It takes a lot more process to it. So you don't want to put the effort in and then have to turn around and do it again 2 months later because you weren't really at your target rate at the end of it. So.
And the increase can be done over a period of time or all at one time? So every community can do it a little differently. Some communities choose to implement an incremental rate increase. The important thing is that you have to have the rates in place when you close on the loan. So really it's going to come down to when you need the loan dollars. And so based on the schedule for this project, we'll be designing, the rest of the project over the winter likely and bidding next year and constructing, next summer. And so at that point in time, you're going to have to start paying large bills to the contractor. And so that's when we would need to close on the loan. So the rate increase would need to be in place by that time. It's kind of my estimated schedule.
So not by the end of the project.
It needs to be in place. So when I said, I think you're referencing to my statement earlier that as a result of the project, your rate is what determines your eligibility. So but the actual rate, it has to actually be in place when you need to close on the loan. But the way they look at it is as a result of the project, if your rate is going to be at or above target rate, that determines your eligibility.
And the loan can be used for previous expense.
I think sometimes actually state revolving fund is pretty flexible, but we have other funding sources. So we have ARPA funding, we have these other grants that I mentioned already in place. And so those funds are being used to cover like costs the town is incurring now to get the design underway.
And some of those funds aren't going to be released until after July of next year anyway. Our GL, we weren't in the priority group, we were in the delayed group. So they are releasing the priority group funds first, and then the second batch won't be available until the beginning of next fiscal year.
Correct.
5.2 has 3172 increase needed to meet the target rate, and then on page 4 you got.
And on page 4, it's $23 to $28 a month. What's the difference there?
So that, I should have probably put some extra bullets in here. So that is the new target rate. Let's see here. 5.2 is what you're looking at, right? Yeah. So that's the old target rate. So that's what, when the median household income was
46.
40, what did I say? 46,000?
46.
Yeah. So that's what the target rate was. And then, so that's what when we applied for the Montana Coal and program last year in May of 24, we evaluated your eligibility based on that target rate. It has since changed. So we're kind of having to look at it at a couple different ways because we're still applying for more funding. So, but the grants that have already been awarded are going to base it on the data that existed when we applied for those funds. Does that make sense?
So the
Sort of.
23 to 28 that you're estimating will meet the target rate for whatever grant you're going for.
Correct.
Just for the water.
Just for the water.
$32 below
So, right. Well, okay. So what is important is Montana Coal Endowment Program. When we applied for that grant, your target rate was a combined target rate of, we'll call it $85 combined rate. They look at it combined. So your current rate.
Can't hear anybody or just everybody?
No, I'm sorry. I said that incorrect. I said that incorrectly. Your current combined rate is $85 and you met target rate. I don't have that calculated in here, I don't believe. Yeah, the grant award was based on a target rate of $88.70 because that was based on the MHI at the time we submitted that grant application. So your existing rate at that time was $84.97. And so with the estimated rate increase, we were going to be well above that target rate. So that determined your eligibility for those funds. CDBG does not look at that the same way. They are more concerned with the low and moderate income percentage, which is the 51.5% that you guys are at. And that's what makes you eligible for this grant today. Am I answering your question? It's a little bit confusing with all the different funding sources.
$117.
That is what, if we were applying, that's your target rate today based on the new median household income. That will come into play when, as Craig had mentioned, when we're talking to the SRF program. They're going to look at that. And that's where he was talking, they don't take into consideration at all the housing costs and some other financial things. And so that's where we're going to be discussing that with them. And also, I mean, that's a big jump from 46,000 to all of a sudden a year later, we're looking at 66,000. So we're having those conversations with state revolving fund to try to get a better deal and some more forgiveness funds. So that's where that will come into play, not with this CDBG application.
How is the median household income calculated? Is it just in the town limits that you're taking, or is it including outlying areas?
Craig might want to talk to this. I think he just came off mute.
Yeah, the American Community Survey is just that. It is it's a survey conducted by the United States Census Bureau, and they survey 3% of the population of the United States each year. And then based on the survey results, they use statistical analysis to determine what the MHI is in this case, of course, the town of Ennis. And we have seen significant jumps in median household incomes across the state of Montana. Whether they're valid or not, well, that is subject to some rather intense debate. But unfortunately, that's what we have to deal with. But that is how they calculate the median household income for, again, the community of Ennis. The only way the community could circumvent that number is by conducting a community-wide income survey, which is remarkably difficult to do because nobody wants to tell anybody what their household income is. But unfortunately, that's the only other option the town of Ennis has at its disposal. And but that
would that include retirement income
yes, it does.
and all passive income like dividends and interest?
Yes, it does.
And isn't there a percentage that you have to reach if you do that survey?
The income survey for it to be eligible. Yes.
Right.
That's correct. That's correct.
No, I don't. That's not the current rules. And I discussed this with Bobby at Rural Water, and even after doing our lead service line inventory that was required, I mean, we had additional staff just to help with that, and it took us over a year. And that was just trying to get whether your pipe was lead, copper, what type of pipes you had. So realistically, we didn't think that this was even a possible option.
Yeah.
Not a realistic option.
for the Department of Commerce, an income survey has to receive I believe it's either 64 or 66% response rate. And if the city wanted to use USDA rural development, then the response rate is over 90%. It is a very high threshold, very difficult to meet, and a significant challenge that if the city had chosen to go that route would delay the project even further. I have no idea how long it would take to do that. And there's no guarantee that you could even meet the threshold. So the decision was to go with the data that we have available right now.
And we can't use Department of Revenue to help in any of this.
No.
Yeah, I don't. No, that's a good question, but I believe the answer to that is no. I agree with that response.
From every single taxpayer to allow you to access their tax return.
Can we send a note out to all the residents to say, no, this is safe for us income?
Well, I can tell you folks, I've actually conducted income surveys, and they are just tremendously difficult to do. Cities have done things like giving away TVs, firearms. I mean, seriously. Colette's been involved in a process like that in one of our clients in Western Montana, and that
Nobody needed a
didn't
new
work.
TV.
Nobody needed a new TV. I appreciate your misgivings about that number, but honestly, that's the number we have to work with. So,
Well, considering that we're looking between $23 and $28 per month, I don't think that's going to break the bank for most people. It's going to hurt some people. Definitely going to hurt some people.
When was our last water rate increase?
I don't recall off the top of my head, but
It's been a while.
No.
I think it's been a while.
We've been talking about doing it since I've been here for 5.5 years, 6 years.
Yeah, I think I remember it was like 10 or 12 years ago.
Really?
Uh-huh.
That's just water, right? Not sewer. That's yet to come.
Correct. That's just water. I do have one other thing I just kind of wanted to present or to talk about, I guess, as part of this, and that's just the overall project budget. So I've talked about all these different funding sources. And so in order to try to get this well project, done this year, and use up all those ARPA funds, and then we kind of reworked the original budget that we had, originally presented, and we put in some additional local funds. So after reviewing the financials with Ginger and the mayor, I believe Craig talked to you guys and kind of went through the financials to make sure we had a really good understanding. And you guys do a nice job of building your reserve account. And I think some of that is set aside specifically for some things. But we did change the local contribution to $211,000. I will say that of that 211,000, I have 123 of it in contingency. So that's just like a if needed situation. But we have 67,000 of it in going towards construction of the wells, and then some to cover the grant administration. And so that is a change to the budget than what was presented in the PER. And so I just wanted to make sure I pointed that out to people and make sure the town is still comfortable with that. I think Craig and I were talking too. I think when you're putting in applications, as we're getting ready to do for CDBG, it will also improve your competitiveness, we feel, by demonstrating your guys' local financial contribution as well. So we're gonna try to make that argument too. But it was a change, and I just wanted to make sure that everybody was aware of it, so there wasn't surprises, and make sure if you guys had any concerns or if you're comfortable with that.
Is there a template that Corey could send us, or someone, Craig could send us? I can't see that far. Could send us letters that businesses could write in support of this?
Yeah, we have many examples, yes. And it can be, I mean, Craig, we can send it over to the town and Ginger and the
Or
mayor
if
can
you
have those.
leave us your email, we'll send it out. I
Yeah.
have
Yep.
templates.
Can you
And
just send it to all the emails that get water billed?
No, actually, I think there's it's a well, and there's you have to agree to that actually ahead of time. It's kind of like when you sign up with the county's alert system. If you don't sign up for these things, we're actually soliciting you unwanted, which is not allowed by the law. So I would not want to jeopardize our grant because we solicited people.
and they can be very simple, they can be informal, they can be handwritten. It doesn't have to be fancy. So
Brian has an idea. What about sending something to the Chamber of Commerce and having them send it out to all their members?
Yeah.
I sent it to their email and it got their info at chamber and it got sent back. So
Colette, Nikki.
yes.
Yeah, if I may, the one thing I really want to avoid is the appearance of a form letter. It's I'm nervous about templates because usually people just sign the template and send it back, which is okay, I guess. But what really carries the most weight is a letter from someone who expresses how the project, how the current situation is affecting them, why they're concerned about it, and how a rate increase of 27, 28, whatever the number could be, would affect them personally. Um, that is the most powerful, a letter of support written on how it would affect their household is far more powerful than anything that I could say on your behalf. And we do have a template you can use, but please add to that letter your personal opinion, how you feel this project would benefit you, and why it deserves the support of the Department of Commerce. Please do that. And I will take as many letters as you will take and can get, because as Colette has heard me say this a million times, letters of support do matter and they do make a difference. So, thank you.
So anybody wants to leave their email willingly, and me not being solicited, I would be happy to email you if you need help writing, going through some of it. Mm-hmm. Yep. Well,
It's
the
not until
submission is,
October or November. There's no
yeah, we
deadline
didn't know
actually
what it
set
was
yet,
for sure, so I'd already sent out preliminary to everybody in my mayor email. So we have a stack so far. So thank you, Carla.
we have seen some communities put letters to the editor, little blurbs in their local papers to encourage things like that. So what other questions can I answer for folks tonight?
I was working on a grant to repave some roads in the county, and it was a grant where if any one person voted against it or wrote against it, the whole grant was out the window. Is this grant the same?
No, I'm not sure what that grant was, Craig. I don't know if you heard that, but he asked you about a grant you were working on to pave streets in the county.
Yeah, there was a grant that Great Western helped the county do to try to get some roads repaved by the fish hatchery. And two people wrote in opposing the repaving, and the whole thing went out the window. Is this grant the same kind of thing? You got to be careful of that.
I suppose that could happen, but yeah, I mean, hopefully we don't get any letters of opposition, but we would factor that into the application. We would say that there are people who are opposed for whatever reason. But
Well, and oftentimes
hopefully,
when people are expressing opposition, it's because of the cost, which
that's right.
almost
That's
helps your argument for needing the grant.
exactly right. Good point, Colette. Yeah, on that road project you're talking about, that was because they didn't want that road to turn into, I believe the quote was, a speedway.
Was that a grant application or was that an RSID or something?
No, that was an application 3 years ago for the Fish Hatchery Road. It was an application to the Federal Lands Access Program
Oh,
to
okay.
the U.S. Department of Transportation, Colette. And yeah, it was unfortunate, but that's what happened. Yeah, I mean, Colette makes a great point. If we get letters from people saying they're opposed to the project because they can't afford it, that makes an even stronger case for the need for the grant. It's kind of counterintuitive, but it does. It would.
So are we good with the question and answer portion?
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry for the little bit of confusion there. The funding gets a little complicated, but
So at this point, we can open the floor to public comment for or opposed to it so that it's as part of the minutes as they're submitted. So if anybody wants to basically try and write a letter off the top of your head, feel free to do so. So if anybody would like to, and then I'll open it to anybody online. All right. Anybody online wish to submit public comment for the CDBG application? All right. Last call for public comment on our CDBG application. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to email me, or if you don't like that or that isn't your preferred method, I'm here Mondays. 2 to 4 is my regular kind of public open time that I try and set aside for anybody that just wants to come sit down and have a talk. So feel free to come on in and I can help you wordsmith or answer any questions you have. All right. I think we'll do our last call for public comment and then close this public hearing. All right, seeing as there's no other, I'd like to say thanks to Craig Erickson and Colette for coming down and joining us this evening. You guys want to take a quick second and then we'll get into it? Yeah, if we can try. Thank you, Colette. Thank you, Craig. Oh, he was like, I'm out. She said goodnight. All right. I would like to open the meeting of our regular town hall meeting of September 11th with a roll call of the council. Commissioner Selly. Here. Commissioner Way.
Here.
Commissioner Nehan. Is absent. Abernathy.
Here.
And Commissioner Hardy.
Here.
All right. If we could all please stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Some minutes to work through. Approval of the August 14th meeting minutes.
I move to approve August 14th minutes.
Any additions or corrections? Oh, sorry.
I'll second that.
All right. Any additions or corrections? Calling the vote. Sully?
Aye.
Way?
Yeah.
Abernathy?
Aye.
And Hardy?
Aye.
All right. Approval of the August 15th meeting minutes.
I move to approve the August 15th minutes.
I'll second.
Any additions or corrections? Calling the vote. Way? Abernathy?
Aye.
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 All right. August 21st.
Move to approve.
Second.
All right. Any additions or corrections there? All right. Then Abernathy.
Aye.
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 All right. Last one, August 28th.
Move to approve.
I second.
Any additions or corrections? All right. Hardy.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
All right. Karen, I saw Karen, didn't I? Good evening.
How's everybody? Do you have any questions for me? Let's turn it around tonight. It was great. Thank you for asking. I'll talk about that all night. Yeah, you have my report. Things are going really well. Huge, huge shout out to the library staff. I think I wrote in here somewhere that it's so nice to have a team that covers each other. If someone's gone, everybody steps up. If I'm gone, everybody else steps up. They're a good bunch. Right now we are transitioning summer programming to fall programming. Lots of after school kid activity right now. So we're gonna kind of rally, and we actually haven't finalized our programming schedule. We'll do that here in the very near future so we can have some activities or options for the after school crowd. I threw some just a couple of stats on I guess it's the second page of your report. We every summer we throw out an option for kids to log bookmarks. And so every 6 hours they turn in a bookmark. We do lots of reading incentives, try to make it fun. Every 6 hours you turn in a bookmark, you get to pick a prize, and then you get in a pot for a bigger prize. So this year we logged 2,298 reading hours, which is pretty darn good. Yeah.
Especially
it's
for summer
fun.
when you can't get them to read it all. So
Yes, it's fun.
thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Oh my gosh. It's yeah, it's almost Bailey worked hard, and so I'm sure she can breathe again. It's a little, but it's also like Christmas is over because it's so fun. Summer with the kids is a good time. But here we go into fall. Looking forward to it. Yeah. Thanks everybody. Yeah.
Oh, Karen, I do have one now that we're talking about fall versus. So last year, you noticed that Fridays were exceptionally busy. Is there anything that we can do to assist you, anticipating that maybe towards spring we'll probably have busy Fridays again?
That's a great question. Thank you for asking. We have talked about that. And right now, so I think right now it's a surprise. We've had more kids come in the library than we have probably ever before, which is great. It's a pleasure and tiring sometimes and so much fun sometimes to give them a safe place to hang out where they can either do homework, hang out, harass each other, whatever it is they need to do to decompress at the end of the day. So I think right now actually is a good chance for us to come up with some programs in anticipation for Fridays. Several families have asked if we are going to do some Friday activities, and yes, absolutely. But I think we need to bump that timeline up a bit and start providing those kind of things now. But I'll think about that, and I really appreciate the question. Yeah, thank you.
All right, Public Works, Eric.
Hi there, how's it going?
Good.
Hi, Eric.
I don't have much more than what's on my report, so if you have questions, go ahead.
Have you used the new machine?
Yeah, Corey, we had her out and we jetted problem sewer lines and sucked the rocks out of the manhole that always seemed to come back. It was great. You know, it's really nice just knowing that equipment's there and then having people actually able to run it. It's been good.
He actually sounded like a kid on Christmas morning after using it, after they got kind of the kinks worked out.
Like, and honestly, and that's just it. Just knowing that I have employees that I feel are going to stay there, and now this equipment's there. It's been going good. And that thing has really already been put to use. Looking forward more, you know. Yeah, we didn't have to fix it before I used it. It was great.
Right. Anything else?
I saw something on the town website, stage 2 water restrictions.
So we're going backwards now. Now it's voluntary.
Oh, is that what it?
Yeah, we're going. We survived.
Okay, I thought we were already in. I didn't understand.
Yeah, and I guess maybe this question is for both Eric and Mitch. Are you guys full staffed right now according to the new definition that you're writing up for the Public Works?
Yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So we have 3 in the department?
We have 3 in the department, and then we have that summer, the seasonal.
Which
has actually worked out really
Eric,
well.
You're anticipating the same gentleman will be coming back next year, right? For that seasonal position?
I'm not anticipating that, but I don't think that would be a hard position to fill, you know?
Okay.
I don't know if he has plans of coming back. You know, I can't, he's retired himself, and I get that, you know. So
TV.
It would be great. It would be great because he was a former town employee, and there was really no training at all, and I trusted, you know, he can go out and do it, and I don't have to worry about it. It's always been done. Never had to ask, so it would be great if he would come back.
I would like to be proactive in that position. If he's not a solid, yes, I'll be back next year, that we advertise it starting in probably March.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Yeah. It was so much help having that just out of the way, because that honestly is a 2 to 3 day a week job, like solid. And it was just great having that kind of not having to worry about it. It's, so, you know, if he's not going to come back, I'll definitely start looking very sooner, because it just worked out so well. That's my plan, anyways.
Sounds good.
All right, are we all done with Eric this evening? Thank you, Eric.
Thank you, Eric.
Yep.
Did we get to ask you how was vacation? Was it good too?
Wasn't really a vacation, but we did go. My daughter had surgery, and we went.
We got to be
and
out of here
helped
for
her
a little
through it.
bit.
But it was good. It was good.
All right, Susie, you be up.
You have my written report, so do you have any questions for me? It's obviously slowed down for zoning.
So since that's slowed down, Susie's working on the first task on some of the enforcement stuff is just getting the house addresses. It's a nightmare and a half for a first responder and very frustrating when we can't find you. So Susie's gonna help us get those people identified and help them get some numbers up so that we can find you in the dark when you need us. So that's the warning. She's not doing it to be mean. It's because I told her to, because I want to find you if I get a call from dispatch.
Questions? No. Still looking.
Thank you.
All right, clerks.
I think Brenna might have submitted something also.
I have a question for Brenna. So you've spoken or emailed 26 auditing firms, and none of them responded back?
Yeah, so in the report, it was, I believe it's 5 total right now have responded, but yes, it was all 26 that we were given on a list for all of Montana. And it was 4 of them responded saying that they're at full capacity or cannot take us on. And then the one simply said they only do Medicaid, Medicare, or social services. So as of right now, we have nothing in that aspect, but I figured it was prudent and wanted to put it in there for you guys since that has been going on.
And then I guess I would ask what you're doing with short-term rentals. How's that going?
Good. We're actually doing way better. We have a couple of people that, let's see, I'm trying to think. I think we only have 2 or 3 more that I'm still pushing on trying to get both county license, the public accommodation license, and town license. But for the most part, everything else has been worked out. So it's actually gone really well.
All right, any other questions? Claims.
We'll move to approve claims.
One second.
Any questions? All right, then I'm back to Sally.
Hi.
Hi.
Aye.
All right, public comment on non-agenda items.
Thanks, Commissioner Way. Tony Treglia lured me in. A couple things. One is, first, I was disappointed that there wasn't an agenda item to recognize the 24th anniversary of 9/11. Take a minute of silence. I was disappointed that we didn't do that. Secondly, recently I saw a Facebook post from Commissioner Han, I believe is his name. I don't know if it was a legitimate letter that was sent to Commissioner Way and Mayor Haas, but if it's legitimate, I'm really disappointed that a commissioner would threaten two other public servants by saying they're going to go to national news about the town of Ennis defunding police, which I don't believe happened. And I think he has forgotten that he is here to represent the citizens of Ennis, not his personal agenda. And I personally believe he should step down and resign. Thank you.
Hi, I'm here representing the Madison County. Not your technology person. I'm here representing the Madison County Government Review Commission, which is something that the county voted for. Montana's constitution is unique. Every 10 years, it allows us to revisit our form of government. So we are in a 2-year process. A lot of the cities were doing it in 1 year, I think. Anyway, we're at the time, the part of the process where we just want to meet with people. We'd like to collect your feedback, your thoughts on what you like about how the county is structured and what recommendations or changes you'd like to make. I have a few of these brochures. They tell you a little bit about who we are, what our mission is, what our timeline is, exactly the kinds of things that we're studying. And on the very back, there's a QR code, and we would love it if you would go on and fill out the survey. We're just looking to get as much feedback from people as possible. At some point in the future, we'd be very open to being on the agenda and doing an actual formal presentation of what we've found so far and opening it up for comments and suggestions. But just want to let you know that we're out here, we're working, we're visiting all the city meetings throughout the county, and just letting people know that we're at work and we're interested in hearing from you. But if anybody's interested, please see me and I'll happily pass around some of our brochures. And that's all that I have.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And if you want, we can have some at the front desk here too. I always saw them when I was renewing my registration, and I thought that was pretty nifty. So maybe as people come in to pay their water bill. Oh, sorry. Second call for public comment on non-agenda.
Smith, and I kind of just want to second what Tony said. A sitting commissioner threatening to sue our town is not a very good look, and I actually expected to hear that he resigned when we walked through the doors today.
I know we're in the middle of a budget process right now, but I'd like to request that the sound system is evaluated for online meetings. It's a wonderful tool that you've provided for the public. The last 4 meetings that I've listened in and tried to keep current, invariably there are dips in the sound, there are inconsistencies with the mics. It would be the service that we're providing here, to respond to transparency and participation. It would just help strengthen that process. So if there's a way to just investigate that, that would be That would be really nice. Thank you.
Maybe I'll send it out on the listserv and see what other towns, how they run it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm.
Brittany Hirsch. I just have a comment on and a request on the website, the public records request on the website. Either I am blind and could not find the hyperlink, but it's not on the page. So I had to dig and dig and dig and try and find the form for the public records request, which, and I did turn one into the mayor last Thursday. I have not received any sort of response or acknowledgement of the public records request. And I believe, unless I'm misreading and there's some loophole, 5 business days is plenty of time to at least acknowledge a public records request for bank statements and a couple payroll reports. So if you could at least update the website to make the page have that form available, and then communication would be great. Thank you.
Any public comment from online?
This is Myra Walmo, and I would like to express that I've checked the packets on this meeting, and I have not seen the resignation tendered by the commissioner that filed threats against the community. And I haven't seen it yet, and I want to know why it hasn't happened. Somebody that we would request it and make it happen, because this is totally horrendous. It's beyond words of somebody sending something through the social media, and the threats that was made on that is just abhorrent. So I would expect something from you folks to turn it around. Thank you. Have a good night.
Last call for public comment on non-agenda items. All right. On to our scheduled matters of the evening. Presentation by Action Inc. Thank you.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm Charity Fector with Action Inc., which is the community action agency for its 6 counties in Southwest Montana. It's based in Butte. And you were talking about community development block grant today. What funds the community action agencies are community service block grants. And these agencies were set up as part of the war on poverty back in the 60s. With the federal funding that they have, they can leverage about $4 local funding for local benefit for $1 for federal funding. And in Southwest Montana, there are 6,700 citizens that have relied on at least one service that is provided by the Action Agency, including 4,300 that received heat assistance, 900 citizens relied on affordable housing programs, and there are 70,000 meals were provided to get 2 kids. What we are requesting is because there are congressional budget cuts being proposed. You heard about the ones dealing with Head Start. That is one of the programs that Action does in Butte. There are a community service block grant is one of them they're looking at. The LIHEAP, weatherization. These are all things that benefit our community. And the presidential budget showed $0. The Senate and the House are now looking at that. And so what we're requesting is a letter from the town of Ennis to our congressional delegation, urging them to continue the federal funding to the agencies to provide direct services to the low-income families and individuals. There is a draft in your packet. I wasn't going to go into the whole background of what the agency is, but there is a draft letter, and we would very much urge you to send that to Senators Daines and Sheehy and to Congressman Zinke, so that they understand that this is important to the community. if these programs are not funded, you're going to see the impacts locally. You're going to see demands for services go up. You're going to see people, you were talking about raising the water bill. Well, what happens when they don't have heat? What happens when they don't have Head Start? What happens when they don't have emergency assistance? So this is what we're asking for. We're not asking for money, just for a letter of support so that it does get through the congressional funding process. Also in your packet, there's a copy of a letter to the editor from the Madisonian explaining what it is and what the impact would be. And I also included a program summary report from Action Inc. That was the most recent one in July. And it goes through each of the grants that they operate and who's benefiting, how it's benefiting. And there are some that it's split out by county. Some are specific to Butte, some are specific to some of the other counties, but it does show who's benefiting in what programs and why. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to talk to you, or you can call Margie Seckham in Butte, who's the executive director. Do you have any questions?
More towards the water thing, because this has been my, while we're on the water discussion of the evening. So there have been several moments during my mayor term in which we've had residents that were unable to pay their water. And at one point there was funding from the state for assistance for that. And then that stopped 2 years ago. And there's not been a replacement anywhere in any system that we've found. We've sent out questions on the mayor's listserv to all other towns, seeing if they have any kind of financial aid for any of their water users, and all of it came back to, no, we just hope that the churches can help them. So is there any way that your organization with some help could fill that void?
Not with the federal funding that we have right now. They did have a water assistance program for a couple of years. And in your letter of support to the congressional delegation, I would bring that point up because I think water is an absolute essential. Very pleased to see you're being proactive about making sure that you have a system that will meet the needs of the in Butte, they had a situation where they found out that there was a couple that didn't have water because their service line was leaking and wasn't serviceable anymore. And as you know, the property owner is responsible for the service line to the house. Well, both of these individuals were elderly and they had cancer. Town Pump came up with a program to pay for those improvements so that they could get the service line fixed so that they could get water to the house. And this is something you might want to consider even approaching like Town Pump with their endowment programs and community service programs.
Thank you.
And Action uses a combination. And I will take that back to them and ask them if they do have any donors right now that could help.
Okay, I appreciate it. You're a wealth of knowledge. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. I did go today, and when I saw you were on the agenda, I went and looked at your site and saw all that you do. So thank you very much for that.
And it's, as you were talking about things with the library programs, other things that you're doing, because of what Action Inc. is involved in, it looks like there may be some possibilities even for internships for the youth in this area that maybe we'd be able to bring that program over here. That was one of them. They did. Well, they cut the funding for that. Yes, unfortunately, we're getting about half of what we were. But again, it's the support we get from the community saying we could really use it. We could use this in our community. So.
Thank you very much.
I was to make a motion to do the letter. Yes, if you would make a motion to write the letter, and if the letter comes from the town, it doesn't come from Action.
I think you have a question.
I'm sorry, one question. Does Action take direct donations from the community, from individuals in the community?
Yes, they do.
Okay, is that on the website?
Yes, it is.
Perfect, thank you.
You're good. I'm pretty good at running. So I'm okay with the idea of new mics, maybe like the ones they have at the stage, so you don't have to run around.
I'd like to move that we prepare a letter for Action Inc. as presented.
I'll second.
Public comment? All right.
Yeah.
Aye.
All right. Letter prepared. Who would like to proofread it before I send it?
All right. Look at Corey.
Okay, I'll prepare it. You can proofread it. Or you're used to sending out congressional ones.
Yeah, I mean, I can proofread it if you
Okay.
want. It doesn't matter.
I'll send it to you two, and then if I miss anything, just sometimes my wordsmithing is not awesome, and you don't want some chat GTP to write it for you.
Probably not.
Okay.
Are you going to use the prepared letter?
I will use the base of it, but that's what I've noticed in a lot of.
Do you have software that converts PDF to Word? I do.
Yeah, I do on my real computer.
I can do it on this one.
You convert it to Word for me and send it to me. Okay, perfect. No, but I should add that to that computer for the next mayor to make life easier.
Very
Okay, I will do that too. Okay, and I'll get that sent out. All right. Whew. Thank you. You don't have to hang out with us if you have traveling to do too, but you're more than welcome to. I always feel bad when people have to travel on the other part. I did a typo for the next one. It's not 912, it's supposed to be 612. So it's the resolution number is my typo, but the content is the same. So this was our whole discussion about how we're required now to the mills.
Yeah.
So this is the official resolution to say, hey.
There's a typo in there?
On the agenda.
Oh, on the agenda. Oh, okay.
It says 912, but for clarification, it's 612.
Okay.
It's been a very rough week. So, yes, go please.
Sorry you got it late. Karen and I had flipped it and thought we were going the money route. And Karen called and said, when I asked her to review it, she said, no, you got the wrong way. So anyway, we have both looked at it. Karen, still in agreement that everything looks good?
It's option B.
So option B.
Option B.
We used the example that was sent from the league for that resolution.
Yeah, so that's that whole conversation we had.
Yeah.
This is just putting it formally.
Yeah, this is the formal adoption of it that's required for us to do. We needed that so that we can move forward with some budget numbers, but now we have to officially do it so that the auditors can review it.
I don't know if you just tiny things. 2 and 3 just need the parent sign. You got that?
I corrected it.
Okay, and then we'll generate number 4. Hereafter the Ennis Town Commission, it says may levy up to 6.9, and probably it should read shall levy, just to be consistent with the original levy verbiage.
Agreed.
Okay.
Will levy That's all I got.
So do I have a motion?
I move to adopt this as written with the change, with the
Shall.
couple of
With the
changes.
shall. Okay. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Public comment? Second call? Anything from online? All right. Then I think I'm to Mitch.
Aye.
Thank you. All right, commission reports. Should shake it up. Corey.
Had a cross country meet today and we won. Well, the overall standings in the meet. We won. Yeah. I think, didn't we? Oh. Sounds like we all won. Yeah. What else? So the 23rd of this month, I'm gonna go to Montana City with Hannah. What's Hannah's last name? What is it? Payne. Hannah Payne to do a walkthrough on what they've created a Firewise garden, which is kind of a like a mock-up of a defensible space. And given the heated recent fires that we've had here lately, and just I've been working with her on the tree board for a handful of things, and this is one potential project I might come to the commission or to possibly spend some money on for a plan to potentially create a Firewise garden in the oval space. So I'm going to go and see what Montana City has set up there, and Hannah is eventually going to relocate here to town. Her husband is, or her partner has taken over for Dale's and is the head of the Forest Service, or whatever. What is Dale's former title? District Ranger.
The roundabouts in the North 40.
The roundabout.
The
Yeah.
parks.
I don't.
That's a park. That's a park.
That is one of 4 parks, I think, in the North 40, or is it 5? Susie? How many parks do we have in the North 40? I think it's 4. So,
You got 2 tops.
well, there's 4 spaces that the developer dedicated for public space, I guess. I wouldn't call any of them parks at this point. So
They're supposed to be. But
right,
they're not.
right.
You know, I think that's something that probably should be looked at because they are supposed to be parks, but they're not.
Well, after the 23rd, I'll come back and give a presentation on Firewise Gardens. So.
And then I told you, go look at the online. There's a whole section at the Salt Lake Botanical Gardens. They have an area that they literally water once every 10 days, and it is gorgeous. So they have a whole.
Have a vegetation that you use.
They have a whole drought tolerant section as a portion where they were trying to promote.
Native drought resistant.
Mm-hmm. So even on their website, they've got an amazing breakdown of that and how they did it. And even in the landscaping, how it retains water. It's a really cool program.
I guess the last thing I would, in lieu of recent events, potential Facebook postings, I think the town needs to have some sort of social media presence, whatever that might be, someone who actually, or a committee that actually
That's a
addresses.
policy that I've asked about several times. Yes.
We need to, I guess, be able to, maybe if there's a rumor mill that's welling, the town can make a public post on social media. I think
I
that,
think we should discuss that. I'm not sure that's wise. But my concern with Facebook posting was with the resignations that have gone through there before they come before this council. That's not proper. It also puts a bad light on the commission and the town itself. But the most recent post that was mentioned by a couple of attendees tonight was on a personal Facebook page, and you can't do anything about that.
sure, no, I agree, but just assessing the level of, like, things that maybe we need to, fires that we might need to put out,
Right.
I guess, just.
You need what you need is a
You need a public information officer.
That's it.
They're very specifically trained to
Just
do
for like
that.
this water thing, that just. I saw
Exactly.
today. I didn't understand it. I thought we were in stage 2.
And even like our Great West with these projects, somebody
You
that
say
would
it was
give,
a wordsmith. That's what.
we need a, yeah. That's the job description, wordsmith required. But as those projects progress, there are requirements about public communications, especially with the MSEP they have specific, and Great West will help us with that, but it would be incredible to have that as that goes through.
Is it within our code to appoint someone to do that?
Ooh, was without.
Request a volunteer?
For the public information officer?
Yes.
Yeah, so West Yellowstone, actually, the clerk.
Well, yeah, they provide the information. It just needs someone to disseminate it and, deflect questions.
Or just make it
properly.
a post only.
Right.
Or information, read only file. But,
So West Yellowstone has, maybe that's the first question is who actually, which towns actually have them as real people? Because like Butte has a artificial intelligence program that they've been running. Copper is its name. I wonder if I feel like that's something you would see at conference. Is anybody attending in October?
I'm actually going. You're talking about the league in October. I signed up.
So maybe that's a good thing to investigate while you're there is some of the booths and see what they got going.
when is that happening?
It's, is it October the 19th to the 21st, or I'm just guessing on that.
I think it's a few days before that. I think it's like the 16th through the 19th or whatever, 17th through the 19th or something like that.
And then if anybody feels really ambitious, the National League of Cities, which is usually like Miami or it's East Coast, it's actually in Salt Lake this year in November. So it's not a bad drive, and they've got a lot more, I guess, a bigger box to look at. November, I have to pull the dates. I can't remember. I just remember it was in November, and I went, ooh, that's close to Thanksgiving.
I like the local ones so much better because it's all Montana, it's all small town people, and everybody talks about similar problems that they all have.
But it could be that way nationally too. I mean,
And you
it
could
really
fund-
could. We've
fund
never
a-
done it.
yeah.
Nobody's ever gone to a national.
I just have a follow-up question in regards to Mr. Hardy's talk about social media or whatever. I was just curious as to where Mr. Swanson is in the IT contract.
So I've sent an email to Swanson. I need to follow up, and now that, and I guess this is part of my report, so I'll get it through.
Okay. Sorry.
Is kind of the IT wrap-up sections that clarify, especially for Myron. What else you got, Corey? Have fun. No, that sounds like fun. I don't like watering things, so I like Firewise. Mitch.
Well, I've been busy playing softball and breaking myself. But it's tax season, so I have not done much. I have a board meeting with the library tomorrow. Be there. Working long nights and drinking a lot of Mountain Dew. And unfortunately, it's other than, the Facebook posts, and it is a little, I'm saddened by what is going on. I honestly am. I thought we were all together as a team working towards a good Ennis, and it seems like that's not what's happening right now. So that's all I have to say.
There's no way.
Not much in the last week. We're like your tax season. We're kind of right in our last push. So
tax season seems to never end.
I just met with my CPA the other day.
Yeah, there's a tax deadline on Monday.
Yeah, that's why.
Was just doing Intuit signings yesterday, so still going on.
I still have 7 to do.
How many?
7.
I thought you said 7D.
7. No, I can't handle this.
All right. So,
not much here in the last week.
Commissioner Sully?
The only thing that I've really done is I did attend the August 21st meeting for the Housing Board. That was over in VC. They, instead of doing their regular online where they usually do it, they actually had an in-person meeting, so I attended that. Again, they're doing their same thing with, getting houses, looking for land, those kind of things. And honestly, I didn't make any notes on it to tell you anything. I can't tell you exactly what happened because I've been kind of out of it myself too. So I guess we've all had a rough month.
What happened to your arm?
Well, do you want to hear the good story or the
real
true story?
Oh.
I was riding at the rodeo and I hit 8.5 seconds. And, then, no, it actually was horse related, but it was my fault and just got off balance. And yeah, I've got a couple of titanium plates and some pins and stuff in there now.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, so.
All right.
So you're gonna come to the Firewise Garden tour with me then?
Yeah, when is it?
Invitation's open. The 23rd.
23rd. This month?
Yep.
All right. So I'm with everybody. I'm on week 3 of a consecutive migraine every night for the last 3 weeks. So that's been a little bit more fun than I have. So my days are kind of not as clear as I want them to be. But so the clarification on IT, I think hopefully Myron will understand this portion. When I said the county for IT, there is a portion of law enforcement that has to have a terminal access agent. So John was that agent, and now it had to be transferred. So Joshua Denny and Christine came down, and we went through that because you have to verify all your access points. It's a part of the CGIN process, and then you have to verify that anybody that's on this terminal access on the access list is there, and that if they are there, they have met the training requirements. Is this kind of making sense? Okay, so we came down, we did that, we did a physical walkthrough of all of our equipment and its meeting of those requirements now that we have nobody staffed there. So we're good there. So the next portion that has to happen is for me to contact Josh again to organize the training for Swanson because he's going to be have the access, he's the backup portion to creating the actual physical requirements for access because we still have evidence and things of this nature. This building makes it a little bit more fun, so that's why I was concerned when we were going to do share space that I have to get Josh here, and then I'm sure it's a duplicate where that we just duplicate any deputies to here, but then we have to also input them and code them, and it's a fun little process for that. The county doesn't do IT. The county contracts with DIS. So the next thing that has to happen is John to get trained. I have to get Josh to get John Swanson to go through the CGen thing, which isn't that bad. It's about a 4-hour course the first time. And then once he's up there, then we can give him access to start doing all the other stuff. So that's kind of IT, and it's going to take a little minute to get him trained. Just because with that CGen thing. So in the meantime, social media policy still needs to happen. I reached out to John and said, hey, when you come on board, you want to help with that? So we can get some kind of a draft to you. If you guys have draft ideas, stuff you want, send it.
Can we do another listserv search and see if other towns have a policy already?
And there's state ones too. So I guess I don't know how to contact what state agency I would contact, but I can send another out on listserv to see what they got. Q social media social I don't know if it's just social media, if it's communications, it's I don't know, but I'll send something out again and see what we come up with. And then I think that's one that's going to have to be definitely heavily reviewed by legal when it's done. So that transitions me into legal. So sent the contract over to Ed. He's doing our modifications. Then he's going to send it to David and go from there. Currently, Sheriff Hedges is out on vacation for a week, so that's why we didn't bring it back forth. I talked briefly with Craig, said depending on timing, it might be as soon as the county commission sees it, because theirs is a Tuesday meeting. I'm going to kind of trying to hot watch it so that it comes back to you. If I can manage that, be like, okay, I see it on their agenda, put it on our next agendas to transition it through. Okay. I had Ed rework up the leases because after he reviewed the upstairs tenant, he was like, this is ugly. Everything about it. May I have your permission to rework it? So I said, yes, please do so. And he said, okay, just go ahead and adopt that by resolution. And I said, that's really nifty for all other towns. And yes, that's allowed by Montana code, but our nifty little code says it's by ordinance. So he's drafted, I got it Tuesday or Wednesday? Tuesday, yesterday. I don't know what day it is. See, this is where I'm at. The ordinance for those, because we have to, he said there's enough major changes that he would recommend that we go through the ordinance, since that's how leases are required in our charter. Mm-hmm. Those ones.
And when are those leases due? When do they renew?
They just automatically renew every year. So I figured now that I have a final version to take, I'll, let our upstairs tenant and give Alan a call, say, here's the deal. Don't be surprised when you see a public hearing notice in the newspaper that we're going to renew your lease or that we're talking about your lease, and here's the new copy so that you're not surprised. So that's where that's at. The next thing, and this, I'll try and get the link to you because it's a larger PDF file. LEPC's worked really hard on our hazards mitigation, and those documents have to be updated every 5 years. And so our major update is complete, and Joe Brummel has those available. So the link that I got from him isn't working, so we're trying to work that out because it's too large of a document to send in an email. So as soon as that's out, I'll let you get it to you so that you have the all-out mitigation plans. And those, they do it portions for town and then all-out county. But then, like for us, we have our special one because of the dam. And so there's a plan for wildfire. There's a plan for flood, high winds. There's a ton of those, but those have all been updated in the review. So that's that. Finalize the letter to our ARPA administrator to schedule a meeting for to ask for our extension. Met with Wet Engineering. They've been contracted by Willys to become compliant with their T&D, their last T&D and everything. Remember when we approved their boiler room, it said that you have to be compliant with all the pretreatment. So they've contracted with them. So we're working with them to get Willys all up and in the new. So that'll be a longer process. It's just a little bit more complicated. They're waiting for test results. We have a follow-up meeting on the 26th. I think that's the major. There's a couple code compliance ones that we're still working on, but until we have something finalized, it's also me sending very strongly worded letters saying that you're not in compliance until we have our agreement with the interlocal.
Is the camper corner in compliance? Do they have a pre-treat?
No, and is there official submission for that project yet? There's been some projects, some people that have been interested in that property, so.
It is. So now it's like
That had to be disclosed, right?
go time, get it done.
So, and then some of the projects that we've seen aren't even related to RVs anymore, so it would make it null and void. So, anything else? I think that's the majority of it. Sorry guys, I was 4 hours in the hospital today, so I'm definitely subpar. It was a long day. And now I have a packet that I can give you to answer your email. Minus some things.
Just to clarify, the John Swanson is contracted for backup IT or
Correct.
full-on IT, just backup?
That's what the contract was.
I have a question. Where do things go? What's the procedure, say with Jim? Does anybody know? I mean, anything, is he staying on the commission? Has he acknowledged?
Jim sent me an email that he was out because he traveled and got COVID, so he didn't want to spread the love. So I guess we'll wait for that. And I would always recommend that when in question and before you make rash decisions, sharing things on Facebook, this, that, and the other, that you actually like consult the MSU handbook that we've put in your resources packet. I had to go back through it this week. And a lot of it says consult your attorney. That's why we have one. So, Ed's back. I think that's all I have been working on though. I've been trying to finish one thing off. So the next step, now that we've gone through our public hearing, I'll still try and get some more letters of support for CDBG. Now that we pretty much know where our target rate's going to be, I'll start to pull Ed and in to help us through that rate process. Because I'd like to start to shoot for that for November, December, and then they wouldn't go into effect until after the new year. Okay. All right. That's all I have. Unscheduled. Okay.
Move to adjourn.
Oh. Can I, one more thing? Rescind, please.
Rescinded.
Witt's last day was this week, so our planning board officially has 3 people. warning, warning, warning. So if you know anybody, I feel like no.
Does 3 include Commissioner
Mm-hmm. Currently, there is Lyndon, Dave, and Commissioner Nehan. Dave Berryman will be done in October. So, their document, though, I did go to the planning board meeting, and they're down to fixing the typos, and then opening it, and then basically opening it up for some more comment, and then it's ready for you guys to say, yay, we like it. No, we don't. Okay. They can be combined. Zoning Board of Adjustments, actually, let me rephrase that. Zoning board and a planning board may be combined. We have a zoning board of adjustments, which is not the same as a zoning board, but we are legally required to have a zoning board, which we don't have. So it would be smart to combine those two. And then I think you can, from what I understood from Forrest, go with the planning board requirements for area in which you have two, isn't it two? One. 2 seats within 1 mile. That's what it is. 2 seats within 1 mile.
If you're writing letters to the delegation, you might want to write them to the Montana State Legislature and ask them to reduce the number of seats required.
Base it on town size for the love of Pete. I mean,
yeah.
We have to have the same pool that Billings has. This is just not fair.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest hindrances, and it's required by state law to have 7. If they would just go, it's in the statute, and that's why.
7.
So if we could get it down to at least 5 or even 3.
Well, talk to our buddy Vanderbilt. He's the chair of the local government committee up there.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
where you'd have to start with.
Yeah. So that would be, if we could get.
Ooh, other duties as assigned.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I think, and get Ken Walsh and.
It actually might be a good one to bring up even at conference, because the league would probably also be very, and Kelly's a planner and a lawyer and she works there, so maybe there can be, so if you're going, maybe I'll write you a to-do Sally's, would you please, while you're there, I didn't feel like it was good for me to go since I won't be here next year. I'm like, it's always fun to go, but if anybody's interested in the national, let me know, because it'd be cool. Nobody's ever been. I mean, and it's not very often that it comes this way. So. Mm-hmm.
Early November? No, she said it was during Thanksgiving.
Or Thanksgiving. Yeah, that's why I was like, yeah, no. Okay, sorry, that was the last thing. So trump up people for planning board is what we're saying. And they've been trying, Whit's been trying to get people, but it's like everything. Everybody's got 7 hats, so. And yes, I'm incredibly sad because they've been so amazing. Okay, that's all I had. So that means those are going to have to come back to us, or we seek out an interlocal with the county to use their planning board.
Well, the way it's growing, I mean, honestly.
Or you, and
planning
there's.
and zoning is, I mean, something that most people have. I mean, you know, they have to be.
Can we post something in the paper?
Mm-hmm. And we've done it several times. Maybe if we offer a TV.
Might be better off with a pie or something. Yeah.
All right. No. Sorry.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Okay. All right, guys, can we take a moment before we never went through revenues. You thought you were just a 5-second break. I'm gonna gouge my eyeball out.
It's pretty static, shouldn't it? Yeah, I thought our revenues were, I mean, it's not like in business, you work harder, you get. Yeah. Well, we are raising prices on water.
How many VRBOs do you have registered?
Somebody should have brought a pie.
Yeah.
I'm hungry. That would be good.
Yeah, it would be good.
We were selling pies at the farmer's market last week, little mini one.
I think that they're going to, the skate park's gonna be doing Pie-a-Palooza, where they're gonna have pies and they're gonna sell them for Thanksgiving. I think they're gonna be doing that.
Oh, cool.
As a fundraiser.
Yeah, they're the unofficial 150,000. They're
getting close.
They're getting real close.
Yeah, they need help too, if anybody has any spare time. They asked me if I would do the fundraising chair, and I said I just can't right now. I can't do that.
Right, you're going to Firewise Garden Tours.
Oh, yeah. Well, and all this other stuff been going on, and I didn't know exactly what all would happen, so.
I got 16, 19.
Nice. That's actually not too bad.
We're getting there.
Good cherry pie. A couple of years ago, we were in the city, and that thing sold for like $200, you know. They auctioned off, their cherries, cherry farm.
Yeah, Sean.
Yeah, and I don't know if it was his cherries or where they got like $200 for that, you know, one pie. So
Yeah, he's got a farm up in the Flathead. So he comes to the farmer's market. He brings the
my
whole
daughter-in-law
truck.
said that, you know, he'll come in the shop and say, you know, I'm gonna be getting, going to place an order for so many or so much, you know, so that he knows how to use.
Yeah, it's good to get him early on because he will keep them in a refrigerated space, and they're only good for so long picked off the tree. But the best way, they pick them a little bit green, you rinse them off in a colander and set them out on your counter, and they just like ripen up. Just eat 'em. Yeah.
I've got a small vineyard in South Carolina, North Georgia. We have a muscats, and we used to make muscat wine. It's got red and white, and then we infused the white wine with Georgia grown blueberries, and we made a blueberry. And so ours are more sweet southern type wine versus what I call the Negro grapes or the fancy wine. So it's time for our peak right now. So we peaks on the. Well, my daughter-in-law, or my daughter actually set up a small silo, and she fixed it so that people can come in here and serve themselves, and they've got their own little scales and buckets so they can pick and weigh.
Oh wow.
Because our trust plant's office is just running on the same property. So
Yeah.
it's close by, so that they can come in there and do it themselves. It's sort of like all these little things you see, like I get cookies and they have little, or eggs and have their stuff.
Stephanie, how many, maybe I'll see what they come up with. Did you get?
I don't know. It's a good question.
So my husband, Thursday, he was in Colfax, Washington, got bucked off with his collarbone.
Well, when I was talking to Ginger, she said the reason you weren't there was because, I was like,
So
geez, what's going
he
on?
had surgery on Friday. He's got a titanium plate with 9 holes.
I need to look and see, because I know it goes down, well, both of the arm bones were broken. And it pushed, like, say, these bones through the bottom of the hand, kind of like that. So they drew it back up and stretched it out and kept it that way in a big cast for, well, it happened on the Friday before Labor Day. And I went over to the hospital and saw what went through it, and it just reset it kind of. And bandaged it up, he came home, and I've been hanging on that big arm and wrist for until Monday. That was my surgery. It was like 10 days postponed. His last name is like, not Schwarzenegger, but it's something similar. It's very long.
So it's in your
It's got
face.
long. They let the.
Divers? Stuff.
No, but it does sound something like Schwartz. See, there's something at the beginning with Schwarzenegger, something at the end. That was like long names. But the guy that was, his name was Sean.
Well, the problem is all those boats are designed to
Yellowstone.
pull back, right?
He
You
knew
drive them by pulling away from
here.
stuff. So when that wind blows, you need to push it
And he
away.
said she
So that's totally against what the whole design of that boat is.
He had to drive from
Yeah, so
Cold
then you
Mountain
start going
into
fast.
Deer Lodge, and I went to pick him up. That was his
What's that?
motor.
Yeah. Yeah, motor by Armstrong.
Yeah. And then there's another photo. So that, this little part was trying to poke through the skin.
Right.
That's what it tried to do.
Let me see, I mean, I
Oh,
did
okay.
brain surgery and washed the hair.
I felt.
And then this.
I did.
And
Because you just transfer it. You might find-
Yeah, 10 days, and I was like.
I gotta make it short.
I was.
I felt so bad.
That's why
I'm like, Jesus.
No, I am. Like a, shaped T. No, I actually got, clamps that goes around. Oh, geez. This was, I was wondering, see, although it makes me wonder.
No, I was
Settled.
He said, unless you do it. I knew it was coming. I called him.
Hey, I did they do, now, maybe they did.
I know who he is.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
Because that's what he goes, he meant that. I remember he.
Mitch put it on, help me remember my radar. So we have the public.
Yeah, I guess they never talked about that.
So, yeah, they never did it like. What?
Yeah.
It's been an exciting.
With Lindsay.
Yeah.
We're like supposed to be all
For the record? Yeah. Well, I went on the website and there is a link to go there, but there's no form. It says use this form, but the form's not there.
But like.
Technically, you're not.
Right.
But it's like, I mean, running.
Yes.
Like, say I'm on a bicycle.
The weirdest one.
Maybe,
That
maybe
records request
reducing.
for like 4 years, like every invoice.
Yeah, they still haven't responded to me for being an incomplete request.
So that it wasn't complete, because it didn't say, yes, I will pay for the time.
Yeah.
Right.
4 years?
Yeah, so, yeah, like, we're not.
Yeah. And I said,
Because it's. So that one, I don't even send it to anybody.
yeah. We would need to get Ed involved to help us decide which ones need to come processed. Yeah.
There and say, what do you want to see?
And so I was
like, well. I don't think so. I think we're just the revenue. I don't want to stay here. Okay. I may either.
The national reader is. Yeah. Everybody got qualified for the national.
That's not bad.
It's in Texas.
About the little.
5 posts to get there?
He ended it, I have, I was like, I don't use those. So I was just looking to see myself. She counted 9, so.
Just ruined it.
Yeah.
I've been poked so many times.
I figured it. The biggest thing was it was,
All the stress
10 days.
does not help your situation.
Yeah, I went to, well, I mean, I knew it. We're supposed to, I was looking forward to the weekend, it was Labor Day weekend. My husband was outside at the barn, I was out with the horses, and the.
Maybe you're sensitive to magnetic field changes.
Missing around, I was in a ladder truck, said, come here, get away from him, you know, come on over here, so he came over. And then our other little Palomino came over, and then the, brown pony, Faye came in. They just kind of squished in a little too close, and I pushed back, and I lost my balance, and.
You what?
You know, so I went over to the hospital and saw.
Really?
Because right here you can tell on the arm, it was like saggy.
Sure, I guess what this is a Chewy Center. What?
That was on Friday night, and so then we had, didn't get a phone call from them till Tuesday, because Monday was a holiday. And so then we went, had to wait until I.
Yeah, it's yeah, tax season. This is the extension completion.
Business extension. Yeah, that's due Monday.
And
October 15th.
can you, this lady I'm hanging out with is preparing some really messy books right now for an accountant, and she's just been stressing, working until the late hours of the evening, but I'm just saying, well, surely you can still maybe make some adjustments to those numbers, or you kind of. Just say, hey, here you go, they're screwed up. Sorry.
All right. We're gonna roll through revenue. Unless there's any other questions on expenditure stuff. Are we good?
Did we, I didn't look, did we get the compensated absences figured out? But it was there last year all the way back, I thought. Okay.
But, I mean, I even dated back.
They probably changed an account number or something. Or a
I mean-
description.
Yeah, I am unsure.
I can look at my stockpile and see if I have last year's. Do we have? Well, it'll be on the drive.
It'll be on the drive, but I could be wrong, but I thought they were there last year, going back several years.
Yeah, and like I said, I've got a message in the back now.
Okay.
Even, I tried every way I could put, to get them to come up. I was gonna do individual annual reports on it, and it would pull it up right.
So the only other thing, and I don't even know, like, or if we can probably absorb it somewhere, is I wanted another computer for the desk. No, you get Kelly's. Bye. This is Kelly's. Just so. Well, and if that, however we want, but I wanted one at the desk that's set up there, that's set up as a station for the commission to come in and have access for the read-only portion. But I don't know if you guys really want it. But it basically creates a workstation where you have access to.
You should be able to set it up, with just they have to have a login, so their login would be.
Is that for Black Mountain stuff?
Mm-hmm.
That we would
Yeah,
use?
you should be able to do that. When at least 6 years ago, when I asked last time about it, they're like, can you log into your bank? We use the same credentials. So
anomaly to me, or why the commission nor the public has been given access to those reports in Black Mountain when it is, I mean, Black Mountain is one of the best software available for that. And to physically have to come in is, I mean, I can pull up my money market account, I can access all my bank accounts from my phone. Yeah. And that's super private information. And so to say that you can only do it from one computer or Chromebook, which hasn't even been provided, is frankly silly. Yeah.
It's login.
Yeah.
Almost 100%.
You can do.
I think actually, I was in today and I think mine says.
Yeah. So, I mean, now with two-factor authentication, passkeys,
Even bank statements. You can log into Madison Valley Bank with read-only access.
I wonder how much the add-on is.
None.
It's just the permissions when you set up the user. But the users is what you pay for. Especially in financial software, you pay by. So with QuickBooks, you automatically get 3. If you need more than that, you pay.
So they don't really give anything away.
No.
No part of Black Mountain is cheap.
One user for the whole entire public would be.
I don't know.
Right.
I was just pricing out Sage, and if again they give you the first 3 users free. If I wanted the 4th user, it was another $1,500 a year. I mean, they charge you by the month, so it can be pricey, especially for like a town of this size. But we're pinching every penny.
That's what I was thinking, just the access point.
But yeah, 1,500 though times 5.
But you would still need a user on that access point.
Well, you could create one user for the commission, just commissioner. Username.
Just one
But
user,
what
one
would the
password for
commissioner-
everybody.
Yeah.
What would your access be different from the public access? It could just be one.
I wouldn't have access to change anything, just to see. Yeah, it's all you. I'm not privy to.
But that's what I'm saying. So the commission access would be.
Oh,
the same as
public.
Public.
Yeah.
Access, really.
You could just do public access. And then the permissions are all view only.
The courthouse has them all over. When the recorder's office, there's some computers up there for public access.
And in, even in QuickBooks, you can drill down to specific things, like you can exclude people from being able to see payroll if it has names and socials in there somewhere. Because QuickBooks payroll is built in, so you can exclude that from someone seeing it. Because you definitely don't want to do that. Give out personal information. Is there personal? There's no personal information here, is it? In Black Mountain?
Yeah, not in the accounting portion. Okay. All right, let's knock out revenues.
But, so we'll revisit the computer request, or, because where I work, I have about 50 computers that I could donate to the town.
I'm sure it's close.
And if it's just being used to access one thing, you don't need that much RAM in it.
But then there's an available spot. I don't know. And then you're right there and you can ask questions too. You can make a lot of assumptions if you don't ask for clarification too.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Well, if you decide to go that way, just, I'll negotiate a donation.
Future people should probably think about something other than a Chromebook. These ones have gotten us through for 4 years, but
yeah,
maybe that's slowly set aside in IT over years to do something better. Because you all do not like the Chromebooks.
I just don't like the fact that you
can't
open
see
a
it.
PDF.
Can't see them. My fingers are too fat to type.
That sounds like personal
needs
problems.
the
Well, it might be, but I'm just saying.
All right.
Well, I've only got one hand. I've been doing mine like that, so. I'll help you out, you help me out. How about that?
All right. Revenues. That kind of our first number is what it is on our taxes, on our property assessed taxes. And then we're just basing off last year. That's how we kind of go with it and be conservative on how it's going to work. Local option tax.
That off of people licensing vehicles.
That's right.
So it comes with our taxes, that and the cannabis.
And who knows how those go. Business licenses, zoning permits. That's, I mean, we're definitely actually kind of trending down. We had big years in 21, 22, and starting to go down a little bit. The amount of permits that we reviewed. Animal licensing. This kind of pays the bills. Rest area, that's where we get our regular, that agreement that you guys saw. Live, game card, video, kind of runs the muck. So pick the middle. State entitlement.
Those four numbers are all set by the state.
Yep. Nothing in the charges. Those have changed to zeros. Fines, that's, you know, at your best guess. Rent and leases. We just left it the same. So those are through the public hearing process. Investments, is this the stiff portion? 37,100.
It's stiff and Madison Valley
Yeah.
in general.
So those are with our renegotiated. So that's considerably better than it used to be.
Was there ever, there's some discussion of the tenant having like a separate meter for propane and electricity? Is that something that's moving forward?
That's all in the agreement was writing in those things, and we talked about the trash too, because that trash fee that we pay to the county is just for, so that's written into the lease too, that's not, that's an addition to.
It's getting rewritten. The leases.
I've sent
Ed
them to
Guzzo
Ed.
looked at them and she mentioned earlier that they weren't
Right.
ready, so.
So are they, is the town planning to collect or have the tenant pay their own utility bills or?
I think that's what I sent
Yeah.
in there. She pays power, it's just not heat
And water.
and water. But we don't charge the ambulance water either when we wash the buses. If you want to meter that. All right. So again, way to go us, because that's changed into something that's actually doable. $1,500 up to $68,000. Anything standing out that we need there? The next one's just our portion from the library. For the library property portion, the 6 mills.
After that one, I just skipped to the water. Everything's.
Yeah, everything else is.
Transfers.
Transfers are the portions from grants. Page 11. Sorry guys, I'm fading. My eyeball's about ready to ice pick out of my head.
I only had a question about the water permits on page 20.
On page, what'd you say?
20. Is that based on just history, or do we have in a pipeline for new water permits?
We don't know how many are gonna come in a year. Depends on how many houses are built.
I mean, it's a small portion of that revenue budget, but
yeah,
it just seemed high to me with the only building in town that I see going on is the Drift, and they're halted.
Yeah.
And already paid, haven't they?
It's
lower than last year's, and our trends
It
are
is,
8.
yeah.
There's a couple random ones down and around.
There are. Guess we can hit it. I'm just trying to be conservative.
I mean, you could base it off of permits that are at least in, I mean, we might have one. But like, you know, you have permits that are in and approved or whatever, and that would be like maybe a good guesstimate of a minimum within the next year that they would have in, I don't know.
Well, that's any more effective than the average over the
Yeah.
last 2 years.
There's not that many. It's on that board.
Yeah.
It's not terribly material. That's fine.
Any other ones that you were looking at? So it would be the same basically in sewer permits too.
Yeah.
That was the only question.
One question on the water, the meter water sales, is the increase.
No.
The plan of, no.
That's not calculated in here with the target rate increase, no. It was just based on the others until it's done and a done deal.
So that you just assume it's gonna go up 50% because of usage trends or.
Based on the new hookups.
New sales.
Yeah.
No.
Not right now.
That change with stage 2.
It's still no.
It's still no. Until there's no restrictions, that's the only time there's no.
With the rate changes to resident total water.
I would really recommend that when we do it, there's the rates for residents, non-resident rate, and a bulk rate. And I don't think that because we service people that aren't part of town and you're not paying taxes into it, and yes, you're paying for the service portion, but there's a lot of part of general fund that kind of feeds in, like sharing vehicles and this, that, and the other, that Public Works uses and Parks uses and sewer uses, you know what I mean? So those people that use water services are actually getting it at a reduced rate in my mind because they're not contributing as a tax portion.
Public hearing, could you change that in an ordinance that anyone receiving town services being sent to town, you're already going through the public hearing process, add another ordinance to it and say received public services, you need to be annexed. Because essentially, it already does. Okay, well then we need to enforce that and just, or do the enforcement, because yeah, I mean, at this point, those, whether they be businesses, residents, or whatever, frankly, they're freeloaders on our system.
How many are we talking?
The laundromat, who's that one?
Yeah, they're not, most of like, D&D or whatever it's called now, on the corner, some of them see the church, D&D, yeah, laundromat. The laundromat receives both water and sewer. It doesn't, yeah, we should better.
It's about 10.
10 residences or 10 with
The
like the
total
laundromat
accounts.
being one of them?
There's one resident.
Yeah.
They should all be annexed. They're already going through the ordinance process. Water rate thing.
Can you force annexation?
Yes, you can enforce annexation.
Okay,
Your guys'
so
call on that.
another question, do they get sewer as well?
Not all of them.
So if we annex them, do we need to provide sewer?
You have to.
You have to have a plan.
Plan.
The city of Missoula has forced annexed lots of properties. It's been to Montana Supreme Court no less than 5 times, and they've won every single case. You don't have to provide them services. You have to provide a plan, which could be a special improvement district.
What would it cost if we annexed them and provided services? What would it cost to do that?
A lot.
To get the sewer to them, I'm
Yeah.
sure.
It is. That's why you'd have to do it as a special district.
It is reasonable. I mean, they're already using the services. Yeah.
Yeah. And to have all those septic systems, randos, that who knows what kind of condition they're in, and if those septic systems fail, they have to hook up anyway. That was like that young couple that you hear on, you know, like, they're all in a precarious situation anyway. And to think that the Elkhorn Trailer Park is on a one septic system.
Oh, they are?
For all our health and safety. It should,
Well, that's all.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a
It's a big
bigger.
fight.
That's a potable water.
And it's one of those things that changes the budget a lot. Because you better go back through and change legal a lot if you want to execute that this year. I reduced legal for Ed. You're gonna have to change that.
But I think at least saying, well, it's already on the books to enforce it.
Yes. To receive the services, you're supposed to be annexed in.
Yes.
Those good old boy days.
I mean.
So, to follow our own ordinances, then we have to do it, right?
Right.
If it's already on there.
You can just write them a letter and say 90 days there.
I'm not saying, I'm just trying to figure all this out.
Well, I can tell you that Ginger and I both were employed here when Madison Cleaners happened. We both probably remember pretty well. And for whatever reason, maybe being a commissioner, didn't have to do it.
Well, that's no excuse.
Well, it worked. Here we are 25 years later.
I mean, personally, I agree. If they're getting water, they should be part of
It's our
town.
job to enforce the ordinances.
Yeah.
So.
And if you have the money
If-
to do it.
If
I'm
we
just saying there's
have
that portion of it. It's
a
not
plan.
a simple enforce 90 days letter thing. Willie's has been like a long haul of it. And you're trying to balance the economics and survivability of businesses in that whole process. I mean, I think it's not our job to
What's the cost?
ensure.
To annex though. To that, there's no.
Yes, there
Oh,
is.
to us, it'd be legal. Or what?
For the town, it would be legal expenses to ensure that we
Okay.
dot all our i's and
And
cross all our
every
t's.
single one would need its own hearing and all of that.
Yeah, but if it's already on, okay. So if it's
We couldn't flock shoot them. We couldn't say all 10 of them, one hearing.
I think we need to talk to Ed.
Or we can say the code says this.
Yeah, the
Either
code
annex
says
it or
this,
turn
it's
off
not
your
been
water.
enforced, what do we need to do?
I think that that's a whole lot more than the revenue portion, and it would have to be its own
Yeah,
work session of it.
yeah, the mayor needs to go.
But it wouldn't affect
It will affect revenue, and the revenue could potentially pay for the expenses, so. That's, I think that's what we're doing. I'd like to move that we approve the revenue budget.
Second that.
It's a work session.
Yeah.
Oh, it's work session, sorry.
Oh.
See, I'm tired too. I'm working at 2 in the morning. Okay, sounds good.
So okay, some more, and if I have to.
Yeah.
It
I
should be
just
on the
know
share.
it was there and it's gone, and so it just leaves a question mark.
The compensated absences aren't coming out of the reports. So.
I think it's an account got changed somehow.
And it may be not, I'm sure it's nothing. I just consistency.
So, but in the meantime, it takes the ones from last year.
And just.
Right, okay. Because they're there.
Yep.
We're in court Monday? No. So we can just delete everything again.
Well, I'm healed. Everybody needs a little medal.
Thank you. I tell you, I have had in my lifetime now, this made the 20th major and minor surgery that I've had.
Oh, really?
Yep. This made number 20. It had been 19 and 17 years, and then when this happened, it made 20. But yeah, it's
Are
still
you
pretty
accident
good.
prone? Or you-
No, I have Crohn's disease, so I've had my large intestine
Oh,
removed,
sure. Okay.
a lot of stuff like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought these were all
Ports,
accidents.
no, thank God it wasn't. But yeah, so I guess now that I'm 57, I'm going to start doing the kids.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that makes sense. Really? You had that many
Yeah,
accidents?
no, I've had, everything from like a port in my chest, to, a lot of blood transfusions with the Crohn's. I had my large intestine removed, 3 feet of my small bowel removed, and whole bladder made, and all kinds of stuff. So I was really sick for a long time. And, hadn't been in the hospital since March of 17. So I was like, yay. And I was, bragging on how good I've been doing, and yeah, so.
Sure.
like years ago.
2 years.
No, yeah. Here. Super traumatic. Doing